Welcome back to the Bitcoin Zodiac and welcome to Winter Solstice. We are now in that beautiful window of Winter Solstice between the 19th and the 22nd of December. So I'm going to mainly focus on that this episode. Of course, we've just had the Sagittarius New Moon, and I'm also going to talk about the full moon on the 3rd of January as well, which will be our first full moon of the year of 2026. So pretty exciting. I'm not going to do a usual episode. I started looking at all of the alignments day by day for this episode, and I just didn't feel to do them because to go through them because I don't want to encourage anyone to be trading Bitcoin over Christmas, you know? It's a time to like just spend time with your family and to relax and to unplug. And there's no market makers involved during this time. So it's very like manipulated moves. So nothing that we really want to pay attention to um, too much. And also nothing that we really want to be trading either and participating in. So that's why I'm not doing that. Um, yeah, if you guys are wanting to trade Bitcoin on Christmas Day, like I want you to close the laptop and go and sit and watch Love Actually and eat a Terry's chocolate orange and pour yourself a gin and tonic and just relax, pull a cracker with your family, all of those sorts of good Christmassy things, like there's plenty of time next year to be trading and you don't want to be participating in such kind of like low volume, low liquidity moves over the holidays. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the winter solstice. So, the themes really of the winter solstice are like stillness and surrender and the beginning of the return of light. So, the winter solstice is the darkest day of the year. And that is generally on the 21st of December. And like either the 20th or the 21st. And that is the moment where the sun reaches its lowest point in the sky. And yet, paradoxically, it is also the moment when light is reborn and it starts coming back to us. So, this is that time for just that sacred pause in the cosmic calendar. It really is a threshold season, part of the season. So, it's just a reminder that rest is not stagnation, it's actually preparation for what is to come. And just as nature slows and the earth exhales, we are also invited to do the same. And so the kind of spiritual meaning of the solstice is that it teaches us that darkness is not something for us to fear or to fix, but it's actually something to honor. So it's a real time to release what has completed this cycle and just acknowledge the grief, the fatigue, or the endings that this year has brought. Like this year's been the year of the snake. It's been all about shedding, and so there can be some grief attached to that. There can be some fatigue attached to that. And there obviously can be some endings. So just allow yourself to acknowledge and witness that without judgment. So just trust that the unseen growth is happening beneath the surface, even if those little green shoots are not coming through quite yet. And if you felt quieter or more introspective or more emotionally tender when everybody else is like going a million miles an hour, Christmas shopping, cooking, going to every party, every drinks, um, and you just don't feel like energetically inclined to do that, there's nothing wrong with you. You're actually very much in line with with the season. So don't berate yourself for that. And then from this day forward, the days slowly begin to lengthen and the light starts to return incrementally. So it doesn't return all at once. It just like bit by bit, it begins to return, it begins to come back to us. And that really mirrors how transformation truly works. It's not through force, it's not through sudden breakthroughs, it's not through urgency, but it's really through just a devotion to the small intentional shifts. And so this winter solstice, like it's here to remind us that you don't need to rush towards the future. Like it's going to come and meet you regardless. And also that the light knows how to find you. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to push. And so this is a really beautiful time within this window from the 19th to the 22nd to pull out your journal, light a candle, maybe have something near to you that is natural, like pine or like a leaf of some kind or a stone of some kind or a crystal, and just sit in silence and reflect on this year, like everything that has gone on in 2025, and just write down what you're releasing into the darkness, into the void, and what you're quietly nurturing for the year ahead. So you can light your candle and then just say aloud that I honor the darkness that has shaped me and the light returning within me. And so, yeah, you can then place your written intention somewhere until the new year. And this time is not really for like a time for bold manifestation, even though it's a new moon. It's really a time for just tending to the flame. And so, some journal questions for you during this solstice period is like, what has this year, the year of the snake, asked me to surrender, asked me to shed? Where have I grown stronger in the dark? And what kind of light do I want to protect and grow in the coming months? So the winter solstice is not about productivity. It's not about resolutions. It's about remembering your rhythm and allowing yourself to rest inside it. And then we just had on December the 19th, the new moon at 28 degrees of Sagittarius. So the theme really for this new moon is truth, vision, and soul-led expansion. So this new moon arrives in the final, most evolved degrees of Sagittarius. It's a place of integration, and this isn't about chasing the next horizon blindly. It's about claiming the wisdom that you've already earned and choosing where you want to expand with intention. So, Sagittarius is always the seeker, the philosopher, the storyteller. And at 28 degrees, the medicine is refinement. So, what beliefs still guide you forward, and which ones are you ready to release? And which ones are you ready to release? This new moon asks you to author the next chapter of your life from like a deeper truth and not just from um old conditioning or inherited narratives or any like immaturity. Like this is the mature version of Sagittarius coming through. I'm pausing this episode for just a moment to share with you one of our partners, the Sculpt Society. I'm obsessed with TSS, created by celebrity trainer Megan Roop. It's not just another fitness app, it's the most fun you'll ever have working out. You'll find sculpt, strength, and dance cardio all in one super accessible method that actually works. Whether you have 10 minutes or 50, want low impact sculpting or full body dance cardio, the Sculpt Society has you covered. Inside the app, you'll find over 900 on-demand workouts and weekly live classes, plus curated programs that meet you wherever you are, beginner, advanced, or even pre or postnatal. There's no complicated choreography, no guilt, just movement that makes you feel confident and strong in your own skin. You can stream from any device, anywhere in the world, and even download classes to work out offline. It doesn't matter whether you're in your living room or in a hotel room. So if you've been waiting for a sign to get back into your body and feel good, this is it. Click on the link in the description box and join the Sculpt Society to start your 7-day free trial today. You'll feel the difference after just one class. Let's get back into the episode. So the energy of late degree Sagittarius is mature, it's discerning, it's visionary. And so you may feel a strong desire to like refine your purpose or a pull to realign your spiritual or philosophical truth. So restlessness like isn't anxiety, but it's just a call to expansion. And that's what Sagittarius does. It expands. And so this is the archer like aiming carefully, not impulsively. It's aiming at the future that feels aligned with your soul. So you really want to ask yourself, what truth am I ready to live by now, even if it changes everything? And so that I guess the mantra for this new moon would be that I trust the wisdom of my journey and I expand from truth and not from fear because Sagittarius is courageous. Sagittarius is not fearful. And this Sagittarius new moon is reminding us that we don't need to have all the answers right now. We only need to have the courage to follow the truth that is alive in you right now. So, in terms of Bitcoin, in financial astrology, the new moon occurs when the sun and the moon align in any astrology. So the sun in financial astrology is direction, leadership, identity, and the dominant narrative. And the moon is sentiment, it's liquidity, and it's like crowd psychology. So when they unite, old cycles close. So new intentions give conceived under this new moon, and seeds for those are sown under a new moon. Trends and themes begin forming. So markets often feel quite uncertain, thin, or transitional, but the real impact unfolds over the next 2 to 4 weeks. So um, new moons often mark inflection points. They generally are when a move is beginning to run out of steam and like consolidates, recalibrates, has a pullback. Um, the narrative maybe shifts and early stage positioning by informed participants. So institutions are looking to position strategically while other people are disappointed that we're maybe having a bit of a breather and a pullback. So um, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and that's the planet of expansion, of optimism, growth cycles, risk appetite, and just big picture beliefs. So, in financial astrology, Sagittarius governs speculative markets, global macro themes, faith driven assets like future focused assets, and narratives about what is possible. So, this makes Sagittarius very important and relevant to Bitcoin, which is like ideological, is belief based. And fundamentals based, but that ideology, Bitcoin also, when Bitcoin was conceived, there was also a birthing of a new secular cycle in philosophically as well as technologically. So that's kind of what makes it more powerful as well. It's also global and borderless, long-term orientated, and often driven by macro faith cycles rather than just cash flows and regulation. So, the importance of 28 degrees at Sagittarius for Bitcoin, like the degrees 26 to 29 of any sign are called the anaretic or culminating degrees. So, they represent completion and urgency and a final judgment and indicate that a cycle of belief is reaching its maturity. So, it often coincides with decisions that can't be postponed. So, this new moon is not about naive optimism. It's about refining beliefs, testing narratives against reality, and choosing which vision is worth carrying forward. So, for markets, this suggests a repricing of expectations, a shift from hype to conviction, and or for some people, it'll be a shift to disillusionment, and just a more selective approach to risk. So the impact on the broader financial markets during this new moon window, you'll often see sentiment and behavior shifts. So like a reassessment of macro outlooks and questioning growth assumptions. Um, and definitely this is more of a long-term focus, like long-term positioning, not short-term noise. And speculative enthusiasm can pause a little bit, which is what we've seen. We've been in this sort of large accumulation phase for quite some time. And it's interesting because when we started going down, we had those kind of dramatic moves down. Obviously, you had tons of influencers calling for the bear market. But to be honest, I do have some positions hedged short, and we're really doing nothing either way. Like it's very irritating, to be honest. And, if I had a conviction that this was the start of the bear market and we're going down and the bull run is over, I'd want to see a bit more of a move to the downside, a bit more dramatic personally. So I know that a lot of people are like, it went down a lot, but I I just am not seeing that early stage bear market, and just in the same way that I didn't see the characteristics of the top either. So we're kind of in no man's land at the moment. We are in this like sideways chop. It's very boring, it's very irritating. And I think everybody should just go and chill and take a break over Christmas and New Year. We come back in the new year and reassess, and hopefully we are out of this accumulation phase and we get some direction either way, right? So, yeah, like we've seen that speculative enthusiasm kind of pause, and markets are just taking stock before choosing a direction. And overextended trades are really vulnerable at this point because we are sort of seeing stop hunts to the upside, we're seeing stop hunts to the downside. So you want to just be quite protective and conservative at this point until we get a confirmation of direction. So we will see a rotation also of towards assets with strong long-term narratives and less tolerance for weak fundamentals or empty promises. So that's not great for a lot of different altcoin projects that don't really have substance behind their marketing. So the long-term evolution for Bitcoin, this new moon really supports Bitcoin's role as a macro belief-driven asset. Also, this maturation Bitcoin, narrative for Bitcoin, and also a movement away from quick gains thinking and towards strategic allocation. And from what I'm looking at, that is what I'm seeing from a broader perspective. And I would say that's institutions are behaving, it's exactly the same pattern of behavior as market makers behave, build positions each day. It's just on a higher time frame. And so it feels like we're in this sideways chop forever. And yeah, and that's what's happening. But also, what we do expect to see after accumulation is manipulation and then the distribution. So just be aware of that too, that there could be a final shakeout as well before, well, it could be in either direction, to be honest. So just look out for that. And so really at the moment, I think the market is also asking, what do we truly believe Bitcoin is becoming? And that question, the answer to that question really shapes adoption, regulation, and institutional involvement, like the infrastructure over the coming months. So yeah, I think that will become clearer in early 2026. So Bitcoin's price behavior, I mean, new moons anyway are generally a sort of local top printing. So a kind of like a compression, a pullback, an unclear direction as well initially. So we with Sagittarius involved, we can definitely see breakouts or breakdowns that may come after the new moon, and price action may feel a bit hesitant. So the key takeaway really for this new moon is that this is more about setting the stage than actually what's happening. Like it's a space of preparation. So it also aligns really with that winter solstice message as well. So that's no coincidence. And really, again, like the key theme, core message is that belief is being tested and vision is being refined. So markets, Bitcoin in particular, are quietly deciding which stories survive, which expectations mature, which paths deserve capital and patience. And this new moon, even though Sagittarius can be quite loud and quite dramatic and quite bold, this new moon doesn't shout. It's planting the seeds. And what grows from it depends on the discipline, time, and the ability to align belief with reality. So skipping through Christmas and New Year, we then have the full moon on January the 3rd. So I will come back for the episode on January the 3rd. And we will talk a bit more deeply about this full moon, but that episode will probably be talking about 2026 as a whole. But a full moon occurs when the sun, which sort of symbolizes direction, authority, and the dominant narrative, opposes the moon, which is, as I said before, sentiment, liquidity, and crowd emotion. So it often correlates with heightened emotion, heightened volatility. So when it's in Cancer as well, it kind of brings public awareness of issues that were previously like simmering under the surface. And Cancer is ruled by the moon, so making it especially powerful in financial astrology because Cancer governs safety and security, it governs emotional comfort over fear, home protection, reserves, and defensive instincts. So, in financial markets, like Cancer energy very much relates to risk aversion versus safety seeking, capital protection, flight to safety behavior, and emotional responses to uncertainty. So this makes a Cancer full moon highly relevant for Bitcoin, which sits at that crossroad of safe haven narratives, speculative volatility, sovereignty versus security, those kind of debates. So it's a pretty important full moon. And usually a full moon will print a local bottom. So as I said, like expect that. Don't be surprised if we see some downward movement. Don't be freaked out and look out for it and take advantage of it. And the degrees between 10 and 15 degrees are considered like high expression degrees. So their energy is strong, it's clear, it's emotionally charged, and reactions tend to be felt rather than reasoned, particularly in Cancer. So crowd behavior becomes much more visible and polarized. And at 13 degrees Cancer, this full moon emphasizes emotional exposure, protection instincts, and um, like what do we trust to keep us safe? So for markets, this is a sentiment-driven full moon, not really a technical one. So for Bitcoin, under this full moon, we would expect to experience emotion-driven volatility for sure, liquidations driven by fear or protection instincts, and sudden spikes or drops that feel very exaggerated, like I said. So this full moon will coincide with usually printing a local bottom, flushing out of weak hands, or panic selling or defensive buying. So moves under Cancer full moons are often reactionary rather than responsive. So just be aware of that. And this full moon highlights Bitcoin's evolving role around security and sovereignty. So, is Bitcoin seen as a speculative asset or a protector? Does fear drive people away from risk or towards decentralization? And I think this is really interesting because a lot of people have been calling this the cycle of paper Bitcoin. And it's two different things, right? Self-custodied real Bitcoin versus paper Bitcoin. And sometimes that's where we see these narratives diverge, right? And so Cancer full moons tend to reignite the emotional debate around Bitcoin's purpose. So self-custody, self-sovereignty, trust in, or lack of trust in systems, protection from institutional instability. These are like the core original narratives of Bitcoin. And they debate whether they're still relevant anymore. And these moments really help mature Bitcoin's identity by forcing markets to confront why they hold it, right? So that's definitely going to come to the forefront during this full moon at the beginning of the year. I'm briefly interrupting this episode to speak to you about one of our partners, Ritual Supplements, and in particular, Ritual Stress Relief. It's the first of its kind supplement powered by Bioseries technology. Unlike typical stress supplements that fade, Ritual's dual action formula gives you instant calm followed by all day support. It works with your body's natural cortisol rhythm, helping you respond instead of react, ground instead of spiral. Its unique extended release blend delivers nature's calming adaptogens like ashwagandha and lemon balm when your body actually needs them. That means no crash, no fog, just clarity, focus, and nervous system balance. It's a sigh of relief that keeps going. So if you have spikes in your stress levels or are simply feeling dysregulated, give Ritual Stress Relief a try. Click on the link in the description box to find your perfect daily ritual. Okay, now that we found our Zen, let's get back to the show. The core message really, if I was to sum up this full moon, is really that emotion peaks where security is questioned. So the markets are really asking what protects us, what do we trust, what feels safe, and what really is safe. So for Bitcoin, this full moon can feel a bit uncomfortable, but it's part of how weak conviction exits and strong conviction consolidates. And so that's really kind of been the year for us this year, is that that's what we've seen. We've seen a lot of scare tactics, getting retail to be exhausted or to sell, panic sell, and those sorts of things. Meanwhile, in the background, institutions are stacking sats, and that's just the truth of it, right? So you want to align with what the institutions are doing. You can't beat them. You don't have the capital to beat them, but you do want to align to what they're doing, right? So definitely focus on that, zoom out and see the big picture. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a beautiful, happy New Year. And I can't wait to see you in 2026. I think 2026 is going to be an amazing year. It's going to be really interesting, tons of scary moments, tons of exciting moments, I think. And I'm looking forward to getting out of the year of the snake. The shedding is done, and now it's time to move into the year of the horse and take some action and move forward and charge forward. And, I'm a Sagittarius myself, so I love the horse archetype. And I just feel super positive about 2026. Not that it isn't going to be without its challenges, without its terrifying moments for the financial markets, as I discussed in my last episode, but I think because we're prepared for it, we can capitalize on it and we can move forward as humanity to a new, fresh paradigm that we're stepping into. And I think we're really seeing those changes in the world. And I think that that's so exciting. And what an exciting time to be alive. I want to thank you all for being with me through 2025, through all the ups and downs through Bitcoin. I really appreciate your support for my channel. I know that it sounds weird and it sounds crazy to be analyzing Bitcoin's astrology, but those of you who have been here know that it's not as crazy as it sounds, and that we're actually really practical about it here. And I love that so many of you are excited about this and dive into this as a practice with me as well. So, yeah, I love you all, and I'm super happy that you're with me. Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year. Lots of love. And until then, peace, love, and Bitcoin.